We are in the climatic moment of the Battle of Finchley, which is part of a 17. It came about as part of a 1745 campaign the um, using the Black Powder Final Argument of Kings campaign setup. The actual battles, though, we are using the Andy Callan rules that are in the Paperboy books, Peter Dennis Paperboy books. It's 1745. It's a fun rule set. It looks like the government, despite having some really good moves, is going to has lost this battle. In this particular rule set, probably not surprisingly, the government forces are much more effective with their volleys, and the Highlanders are much more effective with their melees. In this particular battle, it started out with the British government forces basically in two lines with artillery intermixed and cavalry on both wings, dragoons. The Highlanders just came as forward as fast as they could. They did not come. They were not rolling well enough to just come running completely across the field, but they still made decent progress. The government had absolutely horrible luck with its artillery. They were hardly hitting anything, even when the Highlanders got in close range. The king actually made it. My son made a pretty brilliant move. He saw an opening and he sent his dragoons charging in on the side, and they ultimately ended up routing a Highlander regiment, and they're probably about to swing around and hit the Jacobite artillery. And he swung his whole line around, and as you can see, like in this particular position, he actually has the Highlanders surrounded, and we've got this small force over here, including the king, fortunately, and his guards, that are still here. But what happened is the Highlanders rushed in. The government this game makes the government roll to see if they can hold fire to the critical moment to get the most hits, and they didn't do so well there either. They kind of fired too soon. Did not inflict a lot of damage in the Highlanders, although there was some. Their cavalry charges did more damage than anything else. Essentially what happened was the Highlanders slammed into them first round of combat, and they did not do that well in that first round of combat, which meant a lot of these things went to a second round. And in some places, the government sent its troops forward, that second line, to support the first line. Some places they held back. And what happened is the second round was just an absolute fiasco for the government forces. They did not. They continued to roll poorly, and the prince rolled just devastatingly. So what we have right now is right here. We have, for instance, there's not even that many Highlander cavalry left. It's like not even a full squadron, and they're chasing off a regiment of dragoons. Over here, we've got this shaky situation we've got two forces of dragoons that never got decisive, so they're both they had to back away. Over here we have basically the king ruthlessly held back this line to see how the melee would go, and instead of supporting these militia, and the militia, or the Highlanders, are now one big mess. They had two regiments that became one. They're going to chase them completely off the field. And over here, we got two more government regiments being chased off the field again by the Highlanders. They just have to keep pursuing them off the field. Here, it looks like the government could hold out. But honestly, you go way over here, too, and we have the government cavalry did just horribly in the end. They succeeded in the beginning, but here they're not doing well at all, and they've been routed off the field too. So at this point, 5 government regiments have been routed, and only 1 Highlander regiment. I'm assuming that this Highlander regiment's not going to do so well, because under the rules, these soldiers, these British troops in the back, the government troops, are going to be able to fire a volley before they charge in again. So I'm guessing they're going to be destroyed. But overall, with the situation, we've got a shaky line over here, we got a shaky line over here, and Highlanders charging and hacking people to pieces. I think especially with the king nearby here, they're probably just going to march off the field.